Kitchen. Didn't hear you. Did you say anything?
Pardon, Ronnie?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Do you attend the SeaStor Summit?
Yeah, I will be there. You will be there too, isn't it?
So I got approved too late from my manager, and the tickets sales ended already. And but I will on site to see if I can buy the ticket on site.
Oh, if you, I wish you told me that. I probably could have talked with Avi. And, um, I think we can, if there is a problem in the official channel, probably there is a way to convince him to let you in, part of the team.
Ravi.
Avi Kiviti, the manager of Crimson, manager of Sila.
So how to connect to him?
I have there is I have his email. You can see it in Avi Kiviti. It's in the SeaStor mailing list.
Oh, okay. I will check it.
We can see him there. Don't let him say no. Too important, and we are important to SeaStor, so I hope he will allow it. Hi, Sam.
Hello?
Hi, good morning.
Hi, Samuel.
Hello.
Hey guys,
Hi, Kifo.
I really like. We have a forum here. Last week I didn't I didn't make much progress on the on Chrome side. Aside from it, I was reading the paper and the specs regarding to refresh my understanding of Flash and SSD. So the gist is that I think I completely agree with Sam that even though we have FTL, we need to pretend that FTL does not work or try to works the way that the FTL works better. In that case, the append write always has a better performance. Even we are writing to Flash with FTL, or even the Flash without FTL, like Zund Flash. or the open channel SSD. And I also found that there are some simulators which we could leverage to understanding the behavior of the flash with FTL or without it. It could be helpful when we are prototyping the object store.
There's good news on that front. I heard from Mattias today. We ought to be able to get some prototype zone native ZNS SSDs like real soon now. He asked for an address to ship them to, so I think we should have them weeks, I hope, although somehow these things always take longer than they're supposed to, but still.
Yeah, that's great. Actually,
also, I'm going to point out that I believe that Open Channel it's not dead precisely. There are hyperscalers that are using it, but as an industry standard, it's not viable. Zone data storage is where it's at. Or, sorry, zone namespace SSDs. There we go.
So we're more likely targeting the zone flash, right?
There are two different approaches to the same problem. It's just that the ZNS one is the one that's standardized in NVMe, and that seems to have won. So good for us. We don't have to worry about the other total amorphous blob of whatever vendors want to do. We have like a standard to write to.
But is this standard where accepted by major players in the flash?
Yes. Micron, Western Digital, Samsung, and I forget the fourth one I talked to at FMS are all creating devices now.
Okay.
Open Channel is dead. Long live ZNS.
Fantastic. So that's why I have basically I was just consuming the papers and the specs to understanding what's going on in the market and what's going on in the academia. And also I updated the SeaStor plan, the Docker SeaStor plan a little bit. That's me, actually.
I'm still working on the namespace. Before I just add namespace for the Crimson branch, and currently I have to add the namespace for the classic Ceph. So need to change many files and meet the build error, and just currently fixed all the build error now.
One thing I want to suggest is try to separate out, like for instance, do it one file at a time. For instance, for Ceph context, make that its own commit because it's just going to be a whole bunch of like mechanical changes to a bunch of files. If you make that its own commit, it'll be really, really quick to review. Does that make sense?
So I have to remove all the declaration in the many files they declare the class Ceph context. I have to remove that line, and I just remove that line and include the Ceph context.h in that.
That may not work in every case.
So what's your opinion?
So the reason for the pre-declaration in most of those cases is not to pollute that header with the Ceph context declaration. In those cases, it's only passed by pointer, so it doesn't need the full implementation, just the declaration. So my suggestion is that you keep it pretty mechanical. For files that are only part of classic OSD, simply switch it to namespace Ceph common around the class declaration. For files that are used by both, use the top namespace macro.
So you mean I use the Ceph common Ceph context instead of class Ceph context in that files? In those files?
In those files, you just need to wrap that little class declaration in the namespace bit.
Oh, okay. So not include that the Ceph context header, just declare the namespace Ceph common.
Exactly. Okay. Just right around the class or the class pre-declaration. Like it's just right now class Ceph context semicolon. Just wrap that in namespace Ceph : common. Or if it's a file used also by Alien or Crimson, top namespace. Does that make sense? That way, it'll always be correct. If it's included into the if it's included in all three places, it'll get the right namespace in all three places. If it's only in classic, then don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. You just need to include the Ceph common part. Or if you prefer, you could just make it always use top namespace. It doesn't matter to me.
So how about I include the Ceph chromosome common.h in those files?
You could do that. You don't. Yeah, you'll need to for any file that doesn't already have it. So yeah, you would need to do that. But that doesn't mean you don't also have to wrap the class declaration in the namespace declaration. Like this. Hang on, I'll just put it into chat. Would become at the top with.
Yeah.
Oopsies. Ignore that line.
So that namespace top namespace common is included in the Ceph chromosome common.h, right?
That's how it should work. Yeah. If we set this up right.
Yeah, I have already do it, and okay, I will include this our Ceph chromosome common.h now instead of Ceph context.h.
Yeah, it's possible you could have gotten it to work the other way, but it would have increased compile times. And in a few places, it would actually have caused bugs. Or it would have caused compile errors. Kifu, does that make sense? You're looking quizzical.
Not only the Ceph context has other class structure. So I will add
I'm trying to follow you.
So essentially, what I'm suggesting is that
I will
every one of these things that's used in more than one place, we actually want to change the way they're used in classic OSD because otherwise this will be terribly confusing. We'll have symbols that exist both in the top unqualified namespace and in deeper namespaces, and they'll all be visible, which I think we very much don't want, and it's worth doing some work to avoid. Also, honestly, this improves the code. We've done this in a few places already, just as a side effect of modifying the code. It usually improves readability.
So got a question.
Okay.
Is the Ceph context already in the common namespace, or it's not?
Currently it is, yeah.
Currently not. Okay. So I have to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, right.
So currently not. Many files in other directory will declaration the class Ceph context. So Samuel suggests that I remove the Ceph context class Ceph context and include our Ceph chromosome common.h in those fields. Right?
Just so that you can get to at the top namespace macro, right?
Pardon?
It's just so that you can get at the top namespace macro. That's what it's there for.
Yeah. Just to introduce the macro of a top end SPC.
Does anyone have a better way of doing this? I'm really not like a C++ guy. I mean, I kind of am, but it would not surprise me if there were a cleaner, less awful way to do this.
Yeah, I do need to take a step on it to figure out is there any better way or cleaner way to do it. But I would like to postpone after the meetup at San Francisco.
Okay, well that's fair. We'll be talking about it next week anyway.
Yeah, because I think it's important to get us prepared for the approaching a discussion on SeaStor. That's for most important, I think.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Okay, that's all from me.
Thank you, Tremay. And
any question?
Not so far, but I would suggest we consume some papers and to build an understanding of your own perspective of the design of SeaStor, so we can have a better discussion.
So we can have it have the meeting on the November 5th, right? we
Yes,
will
that's true.
face-to-face discussion.
Yes.
Yeah, so in the meantime,
need-
Keith is suggesting that we should all be reading a lot and coming
Oh,
up
yeah.
with
Yeah.
like
I
ideas
see.
for the
I see.
meeting.
So every read your document first.
Yeah, actually, even if you don't have opinion, you need to get yourself ready to understand what the scope and what we are facing and where we are.
Oh, sure.
Otherwise, you will it would be difficult for you to catch up with the discussion.
Sure.
And Redek.
Hello. Last week, I sent a bunch of PRs against the SeaStor repo. Sorry, network issues. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Last week,
you might want to remove the camera and to turn the camera off. Maybe we'll hear you
yeah,
better.
that's a good idea. Last week, I sent a bunch of PRs to the Steph/SeaStor repo. Basically, it's work somehow related to a writer, but the main thing, the evidence of temporary spawning on hot paths, has been reworked to actually don't change the observable behavior of then and then wrapped. Actually, this commit is longer than the important part. Still, it preserves the benefit we saw during iterator testing. Also, I was preparing to the CEF Day Poland talk we had on Monday. Now I'm doing slides for the SeaStor Summit. My talk got accepted, and beside of that, also I'm doing reading for the sake of discussions we will have there. That's me.
Question, Radek? I didn't see the same pull request in SeaStor itself. You didn't send it, isn't it?
Which one?
The temporaries, the future temporaries.
Have you seen similar patches on mailing list?
No, I'm asking if you said, because I didn't see it. You didn't send it to.
I see. Okay, I misunderstood you. I sent those patches to CEF/SeaStor repo for initial review, for internal review. After getting through it, I'm going to send to SeaStor Dev.
Okay.
Well, idea is to have something like a gift for Avi. We will need to make some proposals related to buffer to efficient consumption of DPDK and I mean input buffer factory and also SPDK integration. So a lot of potential modifications to SeaStor.
We can trade them for the merge of the approaching the input buffer refractory, but because it's more conversive than the future changes, I believe.
Something like that. By the way, Ronan, the PR, one of the link to one of the PRs. Aha, okay, I got it already. It's in the chat window.
This one I saw already. Went over the files yesterday.
Ronan,
okay,
how's it going?
Radek, you finished?
I wanted to add the rest is sent against the same repo.
Sorry, what did you say?
Other PRs are sent against the same repo. There is a bunch of them.
Yeah, I noticed that I went from one to another. Okay, if you asked what I did?
Yes, I ask if you have any updates.
Well, I'm mostly doing going over code and reading. I don't know if you saw this presentation. This is regarding, this matches with what Sam said in the beginning. One second. It's was, I think it was 2 weeks. It was uploaded about 2 weeks ago, and matches what you said, Sam. So this is most of what I'm doing currently.
Oh, yeah.
You saw this one?
I think that guy works with Boodle, probably same research group.
Okay. Interesting. Anyway, I'm also starting to work on measuring performance. I built a new version of Ceph and I'm trying to get the best measurement I can with regular non-crimson Ceph. And try to see that I get a baseline that makes sense, that I know how I'm testing. I enlisted, I think I said that last week, I enlisted the new intern we have to help me with testing. The problem is that he comes only once or twice a week, and this week he wasn't feeling well, so nothing much was done by him yet. So more or less, this is what I'm doing, and I'm nearing to have the console, the ASOC console first implementation for review for comments. I have some questions regarding things I'm seeing while developing this, but I'll save this for the face-to-face meeting probably. That's it for me.
Ryan, do you have a PR for the ASOC supporting encryption?
Not yet.
Private branch. Okay.
Private branch. I won't have time because I'm going to concentrate on reading for the meeting. I probably won't have time to have it published before the meeting, but I'll approach you with probably with questions during the meeting. So that's it for me.
Yeah, we can do some face-to-face review by then.
Yeah, exactly.
That will be more interesting. And Yingxin, how's it going?
Yeah, this last week I was this PR is merged. It is and now the Crimson Messenger is fully tested with async messenger now. So if we have further bugs, we can easily debug with it. And currently, I'm working to enable native stack with Messenger Perf 2 and try to get some performance data compared with POSIX stack. There's a lot of lab issues to install the operating system and enable DPDK, and I'm still working on it. Currently, I'm still unable to bind the NIC to the kernel driver. I'm still figuring it out. That's all.
So you are using the PMD driver, right, to drive the NIC?
Yeah, in DPDK, it's VFIO.
Okay.
Yeah.
My understanding there are a couple of ways to use DPDK along with the NIC which is supported. One is the visualizer, and that's the way SeaStor is using it, I think. Yes, for better performance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions?
Maybe not a question, just a quick note on the DPDK testing. I think it's extremely important, not even because of the raw performance gain we could get because of switching to native stack. It's about still verifying the very initial hypothesis we made about source of problems in classical OSDs, context mode switches, syscalls. Actually,
Yeah.
because of using the POSIX stack, we have the very last syscall interactions in entire Crimson OSD. It's quite an right now. Crimson is more or less similar to, let's say, async messenger, classical async messenger, combined with object store. And what is funny is that we are when you are profiling classical just messenger thread of classical OSD, you would be able to see very similar IPC, instruction per cycle ratio, in comparison to what we have at the moment in Crimson. I'm extremely curious how the IPC would like after getting rid of those very last syscalls we have because of network interaction. It will be extremely important topic for the SeaStor discussion. I mean SPDK integration, to judge how important it really is. When at which stage we should proceeding it. Whether we want to focus on SPDK even at the beginning phase, or maybe postpone it a bit.
I think for SPDK, the SPDK team already started to integrate SeaStor with SPDK. So maybe we can leverage this work. Yeah.
Great. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I think another thing DPDK could help is that less memory copy, because we have full management of the memory layout with a native stack, but it's not quite compatible with the POSIX stack, right?
Exactly, but well, at the moment I got impression we are in testing. We are mostly focused on very small chunks, 4K. Mem copy will be problem for bigger things.
But the total size of the smaller size still build up, still a very overhead, right? Because we are practically moving the memory chunk from the wire to the disk, so the overhead accumulates.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Next week we'll quite some of us will be in San Francisco, I guess, and we will not sure we will be able to have the meeting by then.
I probably
so we don't have. Okay.
So that's it. Probably we will cancel the meeting next week, and we'll continue on with a meeting the week after next week. Have a good day and have a good night.
Okay, see you.
Good day,
Thank you.
good night,
See you.
everybody.
See you
I
again.
had a short update. Maybe not.
Sure.
I've got the
Sorry?
object context reference or the object context patch up for PR. I'm waiting for the Crimson Perf thing to go through, but it sounds like we know what's wrong with her. Generally still making slow progress in the Crimson backfill recovery stuff. That's it. See you next week.
Sorry, Sam, I missed you.
Did you guys hear me just now? That's all I had.
Okay. I'm
Just generally the
really
object
sorry
context
that
PR.
I missed your update. Thought it was with all of us.
Yep, like I said, we are going to get ZNS drives in the next few weeks. That'll be good. Object context PR should be pretty close to ready to go, at least once Crimson Perf proves that I didn't break throughput. And still working on backfill recovery. It's not going quickly, but I am making progress. That's it.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Sam. That's all. Thank you, guys. See you next week. So most of you up next week, and see you all of you the week after next week. Have a good day. Have a good night.
Thank you. See you there. Bye.
See you. Bye.
Yeah.